President Trump's personal attorney, Michael Cohen, is back in court today over evidence seized in an FBI raid on his home and office. This comes as Cohen says he intends to plead the fifth in all proceedings related to the Stormy Daniels case. Now, this would give Cohen the right to avoid testifying in a civil lawsuit brought by the porn star and potentially incriminating himself in an ongoing criminal investigation. Here's what President Trump had to say about Cohen pleading the fifth.
Well, as a percentage of my overall legal work, a tiny, tiny little fraction. But Michael would represent me on some things. He represents me, like with this crazy Stormy Daniels deal. He represented me, and from what I see, he did absolutely nothing wrong. There were no campaign funds going into this.
Then why is he pleading the fifth?
Would have been a problem because he's got other things. He's got businesses.
And time now to bring in CBS News Justice and Homeland Security correspondent Jeff Pegues. Jeff, how does pleading the fifth help Michael Cohen, and does it also help the president?
Well, in a way, it may help the president, but this is really right now about Michael Cohen pleading the fifth here and delaying this procedure, this civil case with Stormy Daniels. He wants to put that off to the side. Why? Because of this criminal case in the Southern District of New York, which is taking his focus right now because it is so serious. And there are people close to Michael who believe that he will face charges in that case. So he and his attorneys, they don't want to open up another can of worms, if you will, in the Stormy Daniels case, which could then put him into deeper potential trouble in the criminal case.
Well, then how is Stormy Daniels' legal team expected to respond to this?
Well, Michael Avenatti, you've already seen him on the airwaves talking about how this is an unprecedented step. In a way it is. In a way it's unprecedented because this is the president's personal attorney pleading the fifth here. But in another way, it's not unprecedented. People take the fifth all the time.
Right.
But obviously, this is something that Stormy Daniels' legal team is happy about. They believe that this shows Michael Cohen in some sort of distress as a result of their legal case, and that's something that they want to push.
Don't forget, President Trump has said in the past as well, when talking about Hillary Clinton, who pleads the fifth? Only members of the mob plead the fifth.
He said that on the campaign trail, and now it's, in a way, coming back to haunt him.
Exactly. Now, Michael Cohen is going to be in court today regarding his criminal case, his criminal charges. Will he also plead the fifth here?
No. These are separate.
These are
right?
separate,
I mean, there's so much going on right now with this case. He has not been charged in connection with this criminal case. However, what is at issue in this courtroom, and I will be there today, is how much of the evidence seized in this raid or the raids that happened earlier this month investigators can see because of attorney-client privilege concerns on the part of Cohen, on the part of the president, on the part of the Trump organization. So that is what is at issue in this case. This is more of a routine hearing. I don't expect it to go too long. At least I'm hoping it doesn't drag out too long. You never know. But we'll have to see.
So in terms of the criminal case, when would we learn, do you think, whether charges will be brought against him?
Well, it's hard to put that on a timetable. However, when you have this really aggressive move by prosecutors and the FBI to carry out these search warrants on the president's personal attorney, to many legal observers that we've talked to and people close to Michael Cohen, they expect this to lead to some sort of charges. Now, we don't know what the timetable is here, but obviously investigators, when they served those search warrants, they were concerned that evidence could potentially be destroyed. So that suggests that they are moving rapidly.
Right. When you heard Trump discussing Michael Cohen and pleading the fifth, he did seem to step away from it and say this all has to do with something else. I have nothing to do with any of this, although he's pleading the fifth regarding the Stormy Daniels charges, which is something that President Trump has to do with.
Well, and in this criminal case, when we go to the courtroom, you have the president's attorneys there sitting right behind Michael Cohen's attorneys. You have Trump organization attorneys represented there, too. So the president has a stake in how this case in front of this federal judge in Lower Manhattan turns out because of his relationship with Michael Cohen. He might say, the president might say that Michael Cohen has done a tiny fraction of legal work, and that may be true because Michael Cohen was not known or is not known as some sort of star legal mind. He is known as being the president's fixer, someone who solves some of the president's problems.
Now, let's move for a moment to the Russia probe. Is an interview with Mueller and President Trump still in the works?
Well, that's something that is being worked out right now. We know that when the raids happened, that was something that irritated the president and sort of stalled the talks from what we're hearing. But now that Rudy Giuliani is on board, he came in last week, he said, listen, I can wrap this thing up.
Right.
I can set up this interview between the president.
Yeah, he sort of sold himself as the special counsel whisperer, right? The Mueller whisperer, as if he had some special insight.
He did, and he may have oversold himself. We'll see about that, too. But clearly the talks have been rekindled, and that's something that obviously Giuliani was brought in to do. The question is, will the president actually sit down with the special counsel? There are a lot of people who support the president who believe that is a trap for him and that he should not do it. But clearly it's something that Giuliani is pushing for because he wants to see this probe come to an end.
He believes that'll help wrap it up.
Exactly.
All right, Jeff Pegues, thank you so much for that.
My pleasure.